This is the story of ex-Chicago gangster Angelo Low Roberts. Born in 1970 or 1971 in Chicago, Illinois, Angelo is widely known as being a ruthless gang leader of the Four Corner Hustlers. Just like Chicago gang leaders, Larry Hoover of the Gangster Disciples, David Barksdale of the Black Disciples, Jeff Ford of the Black Pea Stones, and Dana Bird Bostic of the New Breeds, Angelo was also a gang chief and a Chicago street legend. According to the streets, Angelo was only 18 years old when he became the gang chief of the Four Corner Hustlers. It is said Angelo was all about his money and ran his gang with an iron fist. As a kid growing up in Chicago, Angelo was raised on Chicago's west side. According to his mom, Angelo was a good kid but didn't have a father figure in his life because his father was doing life in prison over a murder. Since Angelo didn't have a father figure in his life, his uncle, a man named Obi, would step in his life to try to lead him in the right direction. Angelo's uncle Obi was an Army vet who did 18 months fighting in the Vietnam War. According to his uncle Obi, he often trained Angelo in karate and knife throwing. According to his uncle Obi, Angelo took a liking to karate and knife throwing and became very skilled at it. It is said Angelo was so good at karate, he once challenged 4 or 5 police officers to a fight and beat them all up. Around Angelo's teenage years, it is said he would turn to the streets and join a gang called the Four Corner Hustlers. At the time when Angelo joined the Four Corner Hustlers, a man named Walter Wheat was the leader of the gang and also the founder of the gang. It is said once Angelo became involved in the streets, he would make a name for himself by displaying violence and showing people he wasn't scared of nothing. A couple years later, while Angelo was now in the streets, Walter Wheat, the founder of the gang, decided to lead the street life alone. Since the gang no longer had a leader, a man named Monroe Banks would become the new leader of the gang. But his time as a leader of the Four Corner Hustlers would be short-lived because he would eventually be killed. By the age of 18, after Monroe Banks was killed, Angelo would become the new leader of the Four Corner Hustlers. It is said when Angelo became the new leader of the Four Corner Hustlers, he would change the gang's rules all the way around. Before Angelo became the gang leader, the Four Corner Hustlers had strict rules such as no robbery, no burglary, and members couldn't use or sell drugs. But once Angelo became the new shot caller, all the old rules would eventually be thrown out and anything could go now. It is said the only rule Angelo expected his gang members to do was always go to school because he felt that the streets already had enough gangsters and the community now needed more lawyers, teachers, and doctors. According to Chicago police, once Angelo became the gang leader, the gang would become involved in selling large amounts of drugs, and it is believed Angelo started ordering a lot of murders. One of the murders the police felt he was involved in was the beating and stabbing of a white man who was found dead on Chicago's west side. It is believed Angelo ordered this murder because the white dude stole from him. The police also believe Angelo ordered the murder of the founder of the Four Corner Hustlers, Walter Wheat, who was also his girlfriend's dad. According to Angelo's family members, once police found out Angelo was the leader of the Four Corner Hustlers, the police began to harass him and tried to put crimes on him he wasn't involved in. Around the early 90s, it is said the police was finally able to charge Angelo with a crime. The crime Angelo was charged with was concealing a homicide and unlawful use of a firearm. For this crime, Angelo would eventually be found guilty and sent to prison. According to the FBI, while Angelo was in prison, he put together a plan to go to war with Chicago's police department. It is said while Angelo was now in prison, he would arrange to buy high-powered weapons off a gun seller. According to the FBI, Angelo tried to buy M16s that came with silencers and a rocket launcher. But unknown to Angelo at the time, the person he was trying to buy the weapons off of was an undercover agent working for the feds. In October of 1994, Angelo would eventually be indicted by the feds. According to the agents that interviewed Angelo, Angelo told them he was going to use the rocket launcher to blow up the police station on Harrison. It is said Angelo wanted to go to war with the police because the police kept harassing him and he was sent to prison 2 times. It is said a couple months after Angelo was indicted by the feds, he would be released from state prison. Around December of 1994 or January of 1995, Angelo would be found dead in the trunk of a car on South Vernon Avenue. It is said when Angelo's body was found in the trunk of a car, his neck was slit, and Angelo was only 24 years old. According to Angelo's family, they believe the police killed Angelo because they didn't want him back on the streets.